New Emperor, new Messiah. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Thank you for tuning in. We're here to teach you, help you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. We're hopefully here to get you to unindoctrinate yourself and realize that you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. You don't have original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within, and we're here to help you find that. We're here to help you maximize that. And we're here to help you manifest the hell out of that. And we mean that, of course, in the most positive and namaste of ways, ladies and gentlemen. The new emperor, the new Messiah, Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Of course, yesterday we talked about AD 66, the year that changed everything. We talked about the Sicarii chasing the Romans out of Judea. We talked about Nero being overthrown. We talked about Titus continuing on to Jerusalem after Vespasian went back to be emperor. We talked about Paul writing Titus in AD 66. And boy, what a year that was. And it was just the beginning of the beginning, and maybe the beginning of the end for more than one, and maybe the scripting for the end of yet another people. But we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at this in detail. You're going to learn some things today that you did not know. Now, that's not unusual for being here, because that's kind of what we do. But the Flavians were successful in destroying the Sicarii Jewish revolt of AD 66 to 70. And I was going to say this yesterday and didn't find time to do it, but the Sicarii were a group of terrorists, Jewish terrorists, that would attack Romans and would attack Hellenists, which are basically Roman leaning Jews. And they would attack them with these little knives that they copied from the Roman short sword. Not to give you a long history in ancient military weapons, but the Roman short sword was the weapon of mass destruction of its day. Most nations were still fighting with long swords, and the Romans with their short sword were able to parry, get inside the reach of the long sword, and kill people before they were killing people before the battle even started, metaphorically. And interestingly enough, the Sicarii came up with a short little dagger, I believe, inspired by the Roman short sword. And they could hide that thing, they could stab people and fade into the crowd and get away without being apprehended. And interestingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, I did something I don't usually do. I didn't know the correct pronunciation of that knife yesterday. And that's very, very bad, because if you go past something that you don't really understand, a word that you don't understand, you can reduce your comprehension of everything that follows that by up to 60%. Think of that. So if you're reading something, if you're listening to something, pause it, look it up, get in your mind what it is, so then you can take full advantage of what else you're hearing. And I would imagine that you can't, and you would lose your enjoyment of anything that followed up to 60%. So, I mean, these days, if you're watching a movie, they say something, well, what is that? Pause it, Google it, ask Siri, ask, what's her name? Alexa. I just say that because I know you guys think that's the Antichrist. But the more that anyway, we won't get off on that one. I was going to say, the more I use Alexa, the less worried I am about AI taking over anything. But anyway, we will move on from that, because the name of that little knife, that little dagger that they used, was called the CC. The CC. And it's almost as if the writers of the New Testament, the writers of Josephus' War of the Jews, the writers of this early history were telling us, see, twice they're telling us, see, look, understand, it's not what you think it is. I find that to be brilliant, dark humor. I find that to be wonderful arrogance on the part of the Romans that wrote the New Testament, on the part of the Jews that wrote, or the Romans that wrote the Gospels, the Jews that probably wrote the rest of the New Testament, and the works of Shakespeare as I'm saying. It's a deep, deep, fascinating, enlightening, wonderful whole, and you find information everywhere you go. But the CC, look, and then I think about the show Hannibal. Whenever there's a big revelation, they go back to this guy who got killed, and he said his last two words were see. If you wake up, it's like Joe Atwell said, whether you believe me or not, whether you believe Atwell or not, if you learn to understand typology and you learn to understand the way that the New Testament was written, history is written by the winners. And Joseph Atwell and me and my little bit are trying to show you how to read the language, understand the language that history is written in. And a whole new world opens up to you when you decide to think for yourself instead of outsourcing your thinking. But anyway, in order to keep the peace of, they were able to destroy Jerusalem, able obviously to put down the rebellion. The best way to put down a rebellion is to kill every single person that rebelled. And they essentially did. They chased them down from one end of heaven to the other, as Matthew 24 says, and they killed them all. But in order to keep the peace, the Flavians, who obviously had rebelled against Nero, took control. The Flavians got a little smarter than Nero, and they enlisted the help of other powerful families in the immediate region of Judea. The Herodians of Syria and the Alexanders of Egypt. And just to give you an idea of how brilliant that really is and how smart that really is, I want to share something with you. And I know that we're not big anymore on geography, and I know that we're not big anymore on studying and learning, but I'm going to show you something that I think is going to, that's not it. I'm going to show you something that is going to give you a perspective and an understanding of what we're talking about and why this was a brilliant move by the Flavians. Let me blow this up for you a little bit. How do I do that? There it is. Thank you. Let's blow this up for you. And let's give you an idea of what the Flavians were dealing with. Nero and everyone before him were having trouble with Jerusalem. And it was hard to control Jerusalem. Well, a look at this map shows you why. Here's Rome. And way over here is Jerusalem. So if somebody acts up in Jerusalem, it's kind of hard to discipline them from Rome. When Cynthia acts up downstairs, I don't want to get up and go all the way down and apply discipline. You know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. So what is a smart way to handle that situation? A smart way to handle that situation is, oh, hey, you know what? We got friends in Egypt, the Alexanders. Let's give them a piece of the pie. Let's give them an interest in maintaining peace in Israel, which is right next door. Oh, and you know what? We've got great friends in Syria called the Herodians, and they're right next door. Why don't we enlist the help of the Alexanders, and let's enlist the help of the Herodians? And boom, you've got Israel surrounded. It's brilliant. It's brilliant from a military tactical position. And I think the problem with Nero is he was too, what's the word where what is the word about where you think everybody's out to get you? I can't remember the name of it. Paranoid. Nero was so paranoid, he didn't want to let anybody else help him out. But the Flavians said, hey, Alexanders, hey, Alexanders, hey, Herodians, help a brother out with Jerusalem. We'll make it worth your while. So the Flavians were very, very smart. They enlisted the help of the Herodians. They enlisted the help of the Alexanders. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant idea. Because, folks, even though they had put down the rebellion, there was still a rather wide strain of military messianism in Judea. People that wanted a military Messiah to come and to save them from Rome, free them from Rome. And of course, if you're having rebellions, if you're having revolts, that's taking money out of your treasury, because you got to send soldiers, you got to kill people, you got to dig graves, you got to build crosses, you got to hire people to crucify people, you got to hire people to bury people. It's a lot of work. So it's much easier if you can keep the peace. And enlisting the Herodians and the Alexandrians helped to ensure the peace, which meant helping to maximize the profit. But there was still a difficulty with this military messianism that was still brewing in Judea. So they could keep killing fools, but sooner or later, it's hard to get taxes from people that are dead. I mean, you can kill them, take their estates, but once you kill everybody, there's nobody left to take money from. There's nobody left to tax. So this Flavian, Herodian, Alexandrian brain trust came up with a brilliant and a very, very audacious plan. And you know who else has come up with a brilliant and an audacious plan is my friend Halo Marquise at Mystech. He came up with the idea of how to imprint frequency onto mineral or metal. And these bracelets that I wear are imprinted with the Schumann resonance, ladies and gentlemen. They keep me in perfect harmony. They fight off the chaos. They fight off the electromagnetic frequency soup that we live in. Some of them are set to specific frequencies that help me in a very specific way. And if you want to add this tool to your arsenal, go to Mystech, or excuse me, go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mystech logo, or click on the Mystech tab. You get a full 20% off. Please give me your name. Please give me your address. Please give me your size. Please give me your color. Yes, I'm a remote viewer, but don't make me work that hard. I got things like this to discover for you, rather than trying to figure out your address. That's Mystech at jeffreydaugherty.com. So the brilliant plan and audacious plan they came up with before Halo came up with his brilliant and audacious plan. And remember who was in this party. We talked about it yesterday. Josephus, one of the great historians, philosophers of the day, and Philo of Alexandria, one of the great historians, philosophers of the day. So when you're hanging out with those kind of people, you're hanging out with people that think outside the box. And one of them decided, you know what we should do? I don't know if they were laying back in their couches, eating some grapes that teenage girls were feeding them. If they were getting massages from teenage boys, that's gross, but it happened. You know, it did. And one of them said, you know what we should do? We should create a new Messiah. It got to be a great idea, but you know what, Josephus? You know what, Philo? That's a pretty damn good idea. It's audacious. Could we actually do it? And what if we created a new Messiah? They want a Messiah. Let's give them a Messiah, but not a warring Messiah. Let's give them a Messiah, not with a short knife, but with a short, you know what, so that he would be a pacifist. And he would encourage cooperation with Rome. He would encourage loyalty to Rome. He would encourage subservience to Rome. Let's get rid of these guys with the short daggers that keep attacking us and bring up a guy with a short, you know what, that people will follow, and they'll be easy. They'll be happy to serve us. And we'll write this Sermon on the Mount, which I talked about yesterday. Listen to that. It was brilliant, if I may say so myself. Not an original idea, but I think a fairly entertaining and informational adaptation of an idea that was presented to me from a couple of different sources. And remember, folks, we talked about this yesterday. When you think, oh, they can't make a Messiah, they can't create a new religion, that's silly. Remember, Philo of Alexandria was a Hellenistic philosopher, and he used allegory to be the first person to harmonize Jewish scripture and Greek philosophy. And remember, what was the New Testament written in? Greek. Who supposedly wrote it? Jews. What kind of Jews were they? Religious Jews. What kind of writings were they? Religious writings. And yet, religious Jews writing religious writings, wrote them in Greek. That should cause bells to go off in your mind because it doesn't add up. It's a non sequitur. One does not follow the other, ladies and gentlemen. So his method followed the practices of both Jewish exegesis and Stoic philosophy. He was combining Judaism and Stoic philosophy, Socratic philosophy. And many church fathers, I know this from my Bible college. I'm a Bible college graduate. I spent 20 years as a Protestant minister. And many people within Christian apologetics and within Christian scriptural research consider Philo to be very, very important, and his writings to be very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. And in fact, as we learned yesterday, it was Philo who came up with the idea of the Logos, Jesus as the Word of God. In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God, same was with God in the beginning, was nothing created that was created without him. Came from Philo. So do you really think now that these guys couldn't figure out how to create a New Testament? Do you really think that these guys couldn't figure out how to create a new religion? And oh, by the way, the Flavians had already created, started, and maintained other religions in Rome. They were just doing what they do. And they realized, you know what? Let's create a new Messiah. And I could see him getting down and writing. They're saying, you know what I'll have him say? You know how our Roman soldiers are allowed to go up and just smack the crap out of a Jew? And what we'll do is we'll say, if somebody smites you on one cheek, turn to him the other cheek. Oh, you think they'll buy it? Oh, yeah, we'll sell it really good. And they bought it. And some of you still buy it. And you know how the soldiers can go up to a Jew and say, hey, you got to carry my pack for a whole mile, 66 to 100 pounds. I don't care what you're doing, carry my pack. You know what we'll do? We'll have this new Messiah say, when a Roman soldier tells you to carry his pack, don't get mad. Don't stab him with a knife. If he asks you to carry it for a mile, carry it for 2 miles. Really? They bought it, and you're still buying it. I'm not, but you are. You still want to turn the other cheek. If somebody hits me in a spiritual, religious sense to try to take away my divinity, my sovereignty, my freedom, if you smite me on this cheek, I might turn this other cheek, but guess what? When this other cheek turns, this is coming behind it. Boom! That's how I turn the other cheek, cousin. And of course, I'm talking about a namaste kind of way. I'm talking about a rhetorical kind of way. I'm talking about an energetic kind of way. I'm talking about a magical kind of way. But if you do get between me and somebody I love, you might get the other cheek and the other fist. Like my son used to say, this is blunt force and this is trauma. Which one do you want first? That's what the Sicarii were all about. But they actually created a new Messiah that said, turn the cheek, and people bought it, and you're still buying it. Dummies. People are still telling you, oh, well, it's, the Sermon on the Mount's the greatest thing ever. What it does is it turns men into mice. It turns people that are divine, sovereign, and free into slaves under a fear and guilt, blood magic, control matrix. It turns exceptional humans into pathetic little slaves. And anybody that promotes it is nothing but a slave owner. They're getting a cut. You ought to learn to just say no. And you know what? They hate paying taxes, but let's have our Messiah say, I'll tell you what, you know what I'll do? I'll say, I'll have him ask him for a denarius. Somebody give me a denarius. Well, where are you going with this, Philo? Watch. Whose inscription is on the denarius? Caesar's. Check this out. I'll have him say, give unto Caesar's what is Caesar, and unto God's what is God's. Woo, that's a good one. Do you think they'll fall for it? And they did, and you are. Oh, and you know what? We'll twist the knife a little bit too. What we'll do is we'll have our Savior, our Messiah, have a Roman centurion come up to him and say, "Oh, I need a healing. Will you come to my house?" And we'll have the Messiah say, "Oh yeah, I'll go." And the Roman says, "No, no, 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 no. Just say the word, and it'll be done." And then we'll actually have our Messiah that we create say, "I have not seen such great faith in all of Israel." If you think I'm lying, that's in Matthew chapter 8, verse number 10. The give unto Caesar what is Caesar's is Matthew 22, verse 21. The go 2 miles, not just one, is Matthew 5:41. The turn the other cheek is Matthew 5:38. What was the first gospel? Oh, yeah, it was Matthew. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing that they fell for it back then, but it's even more amazing. It's amazing they were stupid back then, but I got to be honest with you. The fact that you're still stupid enough to believe it today blows me away. It's way more mind boggling to me that you are still this stupid 2,000 years ago. I mean, they were stupid when it was happening. You've had 2,000 years of lessons and you're still stupid, and you're still stupid right now because you're yelling at me, you're cussing me, you're calling me this, you're calling me that. And I'm showing you what the text says, and the text doesn't give a damn what you think. And the text doesn't give a damn if you stay stupid. It's like that great American philosopher Forrest Gump said, stupid is as stupid does. And then the coup de grace of it all. And I'm going to read this one to you because it's so good. I'm going to read it to you. And if I didn't read it to you, you probably wouldn't believe it. That's why I'm going to read it to you. And we're going to go to that verse that Christians that have any brains, and there's not many of them. Jeff, how can you say things like that? Because if you really had a brain, would you really follow? You know, I've got a friend who's a great guy, a powerful guy, a successful guy, and he's still a Christian. And I would love to sit down and talk to him and say, yo, bro, the Sermon on the Mount is everything that you didn't do to get where you are. So now that you made it, why are you giving so much of your money to them to promote a way that doesn't work? What's wrong with you, brother? We're not going to mention any names. But look at this, folks, ladies and gentlemen. This one is going to blow you away. And did I get the wrong damn reference? Let me see. No, I just hit the wrong damn button. Here we go. Romans chapter 13. It is so amazing, ladies and gentlemen, that they believed it back then. And it's even more ridiculous that you believe it now. Where am I at? Here I am. Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13. King James, bless God. Apostle Paul. Oh, by the way, Jewish, Roman, Herodian Apostle Paul. You think he was in on it? Nah. Just because he was affiliated with 2 of the 3 families that pulled off this heist, why would we think that he was a part of it? There's only a 66% chance that he was part of it. But anyway, let every soul be subject to the higher powers, the government. How many of you conservatives watching the fiasco that's going on right now with our government want to be subject to the higher powers? If you were really a Christian, you wouldn't even vote. If you were really a Christian, you wouldn't even vote because it's all in God's hands. There's no power but that of God. Doesn't matter who you vote for. God's going to put in there who God wants in there. Gee, I wonder who wrote this. Be subject to the higher powers, for there's no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Why do you bother voting? If you're a Christian, then you've got to believe that the powers that be are ordained of God. And if your God ordained the leadership of the House of Representatives, You got a stupid, crazy, demented, foolish God. If your God gave us Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and Chuck Schumer and AOC and crazy ass Maxine Waters, your God is, oh man. If that's the kind of powers that your God ordains, I'm glad I don't worship him anymore. Whoever resists this power, you can't resist the IRS. You can't resist the FBI. You can't resist the ATF. You can't resist the Fed. Because if you do, you're resisting the ordinance of God. What's wrong with you? God ordained that the Fed would be created. Who are you to question it? You can't be a conspiracy theorist if you're a Christian. You can't be a truther if you're a Christian. Who do you think you are? The Apostle Paul says, how can you resist the powers that God puts in place? IRS, INS, for some of y'all. Fed, NSA, CIA, FBI. It's in the Bible. And when you resist, you receive damnation to yourself. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good. If you don't want to worry about the government, do that which is good. And you'll have praise of the same. For he's the minister of God to thee for good. Don't you know, Christian, that Nancy Pelosi is the minister of God to you for good? Because God ordained her, because there's no one ordained that isn't of God. Shifty Schiff is your leader. AOC, crazy ass AOC is your leader. Wow. That's some kind of God you got there, Christian. So don't tell me there's such a thing as a Christian truther. Don't tell me there's such a thing as a Christian conspiracy theorist. There's liars. They have to be liars because you can't be a Christian. It's right here in black and white and resist the government. There's no Christian anarchists. Can't be. If you do that which is evil in the eyes of the government, be afraid, for they don't bear the sword in vain. The word is the Roman short sword. They don't bear it in vain. They're the minister of God to revenge and execute wrath upon they that doeth evil. So you need to be subjected, not only because they'll kick your ass, but also just because you need to be a good person. For this cause, pay your taxes also. I'm sick of hearing about you Christians complain about your taxes. Shut up and pay your taxes. I'm sick and tired of you Christians complaining about the death penalties and the marriage penalties and the penalties on capital gains. Shut up. You say you're a Christian. You say you believe this book. Either live by it or shut up, because I'm tired of listening to your lips flap, because you're a bunch of liars. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tributes due, custom to whose customs due, fear to whose fear is due, honor to whom honor is due. Do you really think that this was written by a group of Jews where the dominant faction of the religion was a bunch of guys that carried knives and stuck fools like pigs? No. It's very clear, very obvious that this was written by the Romans to get the people to submit to Roman power and Roman authority, and they did, and you are, and you're all stupid. A special kind of stupid. Stupid is as stupid does. You tell me that you're not stupid and keep doing stupid, you're stupid. Wow. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty plain, pretty clear. And this trinity of families, the Flavians, the Alexanders, the Herodians, They had motive, they had means, and they had opportunity, just like the congressman from Georgia was talking about with the impeachment. They had a mutual financial motive to keep peace. Peace meant profit. They also had expertise in Judaism and philosophy. In fact, the Flavians had already created and maintained had a number of other religions in Rome. They had Josephus, they had Philo, and the Roman Herodian Jew Saul of Tarsus. So they had motive, financial motive. They had the means, absolutely, and they had the opportunity because they had absolute rule of the territories where Christianity started and flourished. They made the new Messiah. They created the new Messiah. They created the Christianity that you have been worshiping and that you've been counting on for your salvation. Maybe you've been ignorant because you haven't heard this before, but now you've heard it, and ignorant moves into stupid real fast if new knowledge doesn't bring new practices into your life. Let me read something to you from Caesar's Messiah as we close this portion of your daily ass whipping from the Christian Whistleblower. Well, if you're stupid, disobedient children, you need your ass whipped. And I got mine whipped, so I'm returning the favor. Let me read this to you. And I got to switch glasses. I'll tell you what. Life is interesting. Listen to this, folks. To produce the Gospels required a deep understanding of Judaic literature. The Gospels would not simply replace the literature of the old religion, but would be written in such a way as to demonstrate that Christianity was the fulfillment of the prophecies of Judaism and had therefore grown directly from it. To achieve these effects, the Flavian intellectuals made use of a technique used throughout Judaic literature called typology. Watch the last show I did with Joe Atwell. It's on the channel. It's called it's something about Joseph Atwell, typology, Jesus creating a Messiah, something like that. It's the last one with Joe Atwell. Typology. The genre of typology is not often used today. That's why you don't know anything about it. In its most basic sense, typology is simply the use of prior events to provide form and context for subsequent ones, similar to using an archetype or a stereotype to create a new character in literature. The typology in the Gospels is very specific, using repeated names, locations, and concepts in the same sequence. Like Joe said yesterday, typology is a story based on another story. And that's what the New Testament is. It wasn't written by God, unless you think Caesar is a god. It wasn't God breathed and inspired, every jot, every tittle and line, unless you consider Caesar a god. It was written by the Roman Trinity of the Flavians, the Alexanders, and the Herodians. And it was written to do exactly what it did and exactly what it continues to do today. Turn people that should be divine, sovereign, and free into stupid idiots who are willingly bending the knee. It's no surprise that Jesus has his arms raised, willingly bending the knee to a fear and guilt, blood magic control matrix. That's what the text says. And the text doesn't care what you think, what you feel, what you learned, what you think you know. The text doesn't care. And guess what? Neither do I. Don't come at me with, I know this and I know that. If you're going to come at me with anything, you better come at me with text, or guess what? Delete. It's simple as that. Let's go into the chat room. And as we do, let me remind you to go to jeffreydaugherty.com, because some of you need this. Some of your thinking powers And I'm talking to the visitors. Your thinking powers are just not what they should be. And those of you that are regulars here, you got to really crank up your thinking powers, because we are going where no cousin has gone before. So go on to the Daugherty.com website, click on the Create Yourself Nutrition, get some products there to nurture and optimize your adult stem cells. If you're suffering badly and you need new stem cells, you can click on the Stem Light logo, use the word heal, and get 20% off. If you're a doctor and you want to work with the exclusive stem cell partner of the National Football League Alumni Association, go to southernstem.com and use that same code word heal. Stem Light for new stem cells that come from donated cesarean umbilical cords. So don't give me any crap about that. Or Create Yourself Nutrition, nurture, optimize your current adult stem cells. So let's go into the chat room and see what the cousins have to say. I always like it when the cousins are on the scene. They send black magic, says Tracy Cooper Ryder, and yes, they do. Military subcontractor, says Kim Randall. Abso-damn-lutely. What else we got here? The religion known as government is pretty violent, says Rika, and you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Archaeology has shown that the mass suicide at Masada probably never happened. Good stuff, Material Classified. Good stuff. Let's see. Keep the Ponzi scheme going, says Tracy Dyer. The only thing the dead can do is vote Democrat. Isn't it funny that the dead vote 100% Democratic? Thank you for that, Street King. Let's see. Urine my memory. I pee freely. I hate that name. Unless you know yourself, you'll never understand the universe of the gods. Very, very well stated. Was the geography of Israel back then identical to the geography of today? No, but Judea still, where Judea is today is where it was in the first century. Rome was still where Rome is today in the first century. So yeah, the geography is still basically the same. And it's still better to have dudes to the south and dudes to the north helping control dudes in the middle when you're way, way, way over to the northwest. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. How can it be about taxes? What do you mean, how can it be about taxes? I don't know if I could feel any better than I do right now. Trust me, you can. Trust me, you can. Let's see. I just followed my instructions and got her magic bracelet, her Mistech bracelet, just fine. Great, Champagne Supernova. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Let's see. Caesar was God at that time. Abso-damn-lutely he was. Abso-damn-lutely he was. New Messiah, easy peasy. Boom. That's right. Boom. That's right. Let's see. He will someday return with a sword to kill all of those who have betrayed us, and he will destroy them. Tracy, if you think that Jesus is going to come back with a sword to kill all of those who have betrayed us, and he will destroy them, first of all, please don't include me in that us, because I'm a them to that us. If you're waiting for Jesus to come back, it's going to be a long wait. You ever heard that country song by Tanya Tucker, Delta Dawn? About some crazy woman that waits for some guy that screwed her to come back. That's exactly the situation you're in, sweetheart, if you're waiting on Jesus, who screwed you, to come back. Because he ain't coming. Because he wasn't real. Boy, that was kind of offensive, but hey. It is what it is. And I think she was probably being joking anyway, so. I felt that phone buzzing. Yeah, it's because this new computer I have has got a thing on it where if you sit your phone, it charges your phone up. So I set it on there, and when it buzzes, if I'm on the air, you can hear it. I shouldn't do it, but it's so convenient, and it's really, really cool. So anyway, let's go. Let's go. What else we got here? So what? I'm genius, and the guy the shrinks come to with their issues. Jeff still teaches me good stuff. Love it, Street King. Glad that I can still teach the smartest guy in the room. That's why I can still give something to the smartest guy in the room, and I can still get something from the smartest guy in the room. Aren't we gullible? Asked Susan Allegro. Well, I was, but we are. Wow. Wow. Say hello to my little friend. Absolutely. I'm not buying it either. I'm divine, sovereign, and free. Boom. I like it. I like it. Beatitudes. That was a great awakening. It was a great show, wasn't it? Check it out. Check it out. Let's see. The Fed approved by what religious organizations? Is the church? Go look it up. Are they approved by whom? The point is, you're in my memory. If you're a Christian, then you can't question the Fed because the Bible says so. If the Bible really is the book for me, then I got to do what it says. If you stand alone on the word of God, the Bible, then by God, you're going to stand on every word. Period. The state, the deep state feminizes men today. Greg, that's fascinating. And you know what? They've been feminine. That's exactly what the Sermon on the Mount does. It feminizes men. And it feminizes our warrior women in a bad way. Where have the warriors gone? Where are all the badasses? Where are all the badasses? All the badasses are busy turning their cheek when they're getting smote by injustice. All the badasses are busy carrying bitches' packs that are oppressing them 2 miles instead of 1. All the badasses are giving their money away to oppressors instead of using it to arm themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, and to be able to fight back against oppressors. Where have all the badasses gone? Where have all the badasses gone? Wow. We've been feminized. Green Greg is so right. We have been feminized. Robert USN Vet says, I never bought that turn the other cheek one either, but I ducked as a baby Christian. That's funny. That's funny. What else we got here? Talk about Osiris and the black goo. Yeah, I will. What else we got? We only use 10% of our brains. You know, that's kind of a misnomer, Material Classified. We only use 10% of our brains at a time, but we use almost all of them. So I know that goes against conventional wisdom, but I found it is usually most wise to go against conventional wisdom. So anyway, the great American philosopher Forrest Gump, true American hero. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been worshiping a vampire, says Street King. Abso-damn-lutely. Let's see what else we got. Most people use a lot less than 10% of their brain. Yeah, that's true. We have access to use all of it, I believe. Yeah, Ralph Ellis wrote some great books. I don't agree with all of his contentions, but very, very scholarly, very, very good. Was there really a Paul? I'm almost sure no, but I'm still searching, and we will be looking at that between now and then. Bo Rue says, do you all still think voting matters? Well, let me ask you that. Well, I'm not a Christian, but let me assure you of this, Bo Rue. I know from talking to military, intelligence, governmental insiders that voting counted in 2016 because the Democrats had put in Soros-inspired malware into the Soros voting machines, and they were going to steal the election for Hillary Clinton. But the white hats within our military government organizations went in and removed the malware and ensured that there was a fair vote. And in 2016, the person that got the most votes won the election. That's all I know. And all I know is that in 2020, It's going to be that same way again. And all I know, in the last 3 years, the mainstream media in the United States has been outed as fake news. All I know, in the last 3 years, some of the major pedophiles are now inside prison cells. They didn't kill themselves. They're given information to us so we can get more pedophiles into prison cells and hopefully other places that are more permanent. All I know is that we now have a president who's waging peace instead of war, bringing troops home instead of sending out more. All I know is we got a president who is on our back, has got our back, and is working on legislation to make social media fair and equitable. So does voting count? It counted in 2016. It'll count again in 2020. Do I think voting counts? What do you think, cousin? Do I think voting counts? There's an answer for you right there. Anyway, that's not what we're here for today. Let's see. That's not what we're here for today. I think Tracy's a little cross today. Didn't Jeff do a podcast stating that the other 90% is out building our second spiritual life? I don't even know what you're talking about, Tracy Cooper Ryder. So no, I didn't do a podcast about that. Let's see. Those people are all human traffickers, probably. You can resist. Yeah, but not if you're a Christian, Susan. You can't resist. Spirit 7 love is like, oh, crap. Let's see. Pelosi prays for Trump. P-R-E-Y. Well stated, Jenny. Great turn of a phrase. Yeah, Matthew, the first book, material class. This is great. Matthew was what? A tax collector. Matthew was a tax collector. That is so, so good. Yeah, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. My kingdom's not of this world, neither is mine. Google the parallels between Paul, Apollonius of Tyana. Another good thought, runaway train. I don't happen to agree with that one, but a very good thought. Let's see. Would you kill to protect you and your family? It's a good question, Elsie Clay. Not if you're a Christian, you wouldn't. You're not allowed to. Not allowed to. Poor little pigs, says Tracy Cooper Ryder. Not sure what that one means. I'm not sure what that one means. Very protective of family, says Susan. Let's see. New knowledge is wrong thinking at my church. Peter James, can I ask you a question? At what point do I give you enough information about the fact that your church is a baby killing, kid raping, money stealing, fear and guilt, black blood magic control matrix to where you stop going? At what point do you say, I don't think I'll hang out with these people anymore? I really wonder. I really, really wonder. Craziness. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Let's see. Stories about stories. Stories based on other stories. Judge not, lest you be judged. So if you judge me, be ready. Nixon 223. You say judge not, lest you be not judged. The freaking Romans. I say stupid is as stupid does. And you make judgments every day of your life. When you go across the street, do you just walk out in front of it? Don't judge. Just go out in front. Don't judge if that car is going to hit you. Just go out in front. Nixon 223. Stupid is as stupid does. And if you're still doing the Christian thing, you're stupid. Period. And what it actually says from a Bible college graduate is that with whatever judgment you use, that's how you're going to be judged yourself. So when I say that you're stupid for doing stuff that you know and that someone has shown you is wicked, evil, demented, and bad for you, I'm willing to be subject to that same judgment. Go ahead, cousin. You know where to find me. There were many, many messiahs. Absolutely. What about the Mormons' New Testament? Huh? Huh? Anyway, what else we got here? The Book of Og. I don't know about that. That's Wayne's thing, not mine. Gonna buy the book Caesar's Messiah. You really should buy the book Caesar's Messiah. And that's funny. Somebody quoted Ron White, the comedian Ron White. You just can't fix stupid. And you really can't, because stupid doesn't know it's stupid. And stupid, like, gets all full of itself. Stupid fights back. I don't understand. Wisdom, you ever notice wisdom doesn't fight back, but stupid does? I don't get it. I don't get it. We lost. I jumped here. Okay, here we go. Gonna buy Caesar's Messiah. Boom. Mistech, juicing, CWB helping a lot. Perfect. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Hey, Tiffany's turning green over something. I can't remember what I said, but there's a lot of things that she could be turning green about that I say. Let's see. Elsie Clay, not true in 2016, not true in 2020. Don't let me put back on my Make America Great hat. Please don't. Because you know I'm dying to do it anyway. Even though I know when I put that hat on, half the people hate me. It's just, I just do what I got to do. You got to be true to your character. It's like, the old story, the frog and the scorpion are on the side of the river, and the forest is closed. The forest fire is closing in on them. The scorpion says, "Hey, bro, let me ride your back across the river." And the frog says, "No, you'll sting me." And the scorpion says, "Why would I do that? If I sting you, we both die." Frog's like, "Okay, jump on." So they're swimming across the river, halfway across. Scorpion stings Frog. He's like, "Dude, what'd you do that for?" "Now we're both gonna die." And Scorpion says, "Yeah, I know. I couldn't help it. I had to be true to my nature." So I always say I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to be more pleasant. I got to be true to my nature. I got to be true to my nature. Let's see. What else we got here? Come to Reno, do some stand up. I love Reno. I really do like Reno. I love Reno. Someone call for a badass, says Scotty Boy. Street King says we badasses are becoming few. It's it's engineered that way. They're getting rid of the badasses. And don't think for a second that there's only male badasses. There's some female badasses out there too. And you don't have to be burly and buff and dykey looking to be a female badass. Let's just make sure that has been stated. I miss the alpha males. I miss the strong females. I miss the badasses on both sides of the sexual aisle, ladies and gentlemen. None of your business says we're all badasses here. And she's right. Barry's going to order some worms, Greg. So be looking for his order on worms. I like it. I like it. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Street King hitting on Tracy Dyer. Wow. Blatantly. That's pretty good, though, Street King. I like it. I like it. Joe would like that, too. Let's see. Gonna be even more fair in 2020. I agree, Javanka. MAGA that shit, cousin. I'm just quoting here. Just quoting here. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Is killing murder? Well, you know what? If somebody's trying to hurt my people, take my stuff, take my life, I will defend first and debate morality later. Let's see. We've been fed on all this stuff. Green Greg says BPA, drugs, sodium fluoride, the more to feminize us, and we will compliantly surrender to the deep state. As a result, male sperm counts are dropping like a rock in Western society. Male sperm counts are dropping like rocks, and testicles are receding. And he's right. He is right. I got it. My pastor married my wife and abused my kids. Well, why are you still going to church? I don't get it. I don't get it. But that's you. And it's your deal, bro. It is your deal. Mr. Nice Guy says, my point is that Jesus is Lord of all. Jesus is Lord of all the idiots. Jesus is Lord of all the fools. Jesus is Lord of all the stupid people of the entire universe. Jesus is fake. I've proven to you he's made up by Rome. Jesus isn't real. He's the Lord of all the imaginary people and all the real people that are still dumb enough, stupid enough, idiotic enough, slave-minded enough, sheepy enough, bad enough to still believe in him. That's just my point. And you might be a nice guy. Evidently, you're not a smart guy, but a nice guy. Come on, man. Really? 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 That's funny. Street King's talking about when I get to Mr. Nice Guy. Anyway, what else we got here? Somebody said they got a Mexican girlfriend. I don't want to miss this. I'm sorry. I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this. And it jumped on me again. It jumped on me again. Where else? Where else are we at? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Stupid can't be fixed. Let's see. It's tough. It's just tough love, revealed truth. Jeff and Trump are both Gemini. Oh, that's true. It is true. Let's see. Jesus loves you too. He's not real. He doesn't love anybody. Let's see here. Stick around, listen, and learn. I like it. Street King says I'm a Scorpion. That's what we do. Mean Green. I wouldn't want to mess with Greg. I bet Greg has got the power to do what he's got to do when he's got to do it. What's your sign, Jeff? I guess I'm Gemini in Western. I can't remember what Heidi says I am in Vedic. Besides sexy. I remember that part. It was in the report. I'm just reading you the report, ladies and gentlemen. My Mexican girlfriend says D Tenacious, like Tenacious D, a hockey term. Gotta love that. And a fairly decent band. My Mexican girlfriend, I don't know why it's relevant. Why you gotta get racist with it, D Tenacious? His Mexican girlfriend wants him to go to mass for the feast of the Lady of Guadalupe today at 3:45 a.m. Wow. I said no. She called me Diablo, which means devil. Tenacious D, far be it from me to make such a suggestion, but your Mexican girlfriend probably has things that you're going to want sooner than later. And if you don't go to the Lady of Guadalupe, you might not see those things for a while. I'm just saying. I'm with you. I don't recommend you go, but sometimes a brother's got to do what a brother's got to do. We live in the real world, ladies and gentlemen. We live in the real world. We live in the real world. Let's see. Jennifer says that Jeff intimidates her. That's interesting. I'm a warrior chick living in the sticks, says Kim Randall. You got the starting of a country music song right there. Expand on that a little bit. That's a #1 hit. Let's say best thing I've heard all day, says Great Lakes Wellness. So glad to hear that. Let's see. Marie, that was rude. So I'm taking your comment out because I can. I can. And Maria Skinner, guess what? Yeshua's just as fake as Jesus. Yeshua is a false enlightenment. It's a pseudo enlightenment. And you know how I know? Because I made a stop on that crazy train. You go, you're Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then you get a little bit, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't quite add up. And then they say, oh, well, because it's really Yeshua. And you go, oh, yeah, it's Yeshua. Now I know the truth. We're Yeshua, we're Yeshua, we're Yeshua. And then we realize, this is a bunch of crap too. And if you haven't gone into the feast days yet and the holy names, you got a ways to come yet, cousin. But Yeshua's just as fake as Jesus. Sorry, but I thought I'd save you some time. Let's see. There's too many masculines ruling us, in my opinion. Well, Hilly, that you're allowed to have your opinion. I respect it. But you really think there's too many masculine men? I'm thinking right now of masculine men ruling us. I'm trying to think of masculine male politicians. Well, President Trump, definitely masculine. I shouldn't say this, but I don't get vibes of vibrant masculinity off of Vice President Pence. I shouldn't say it, but it's hard, I guess, when you're right there next to Donald Trump, who's definitely an alpha type. Who else has masculinity in? Oh, that dude, the dude with the dark hair, the younger dude in the, I didn't watch much of those hearings, but the one that was hollering and yelling, he got some masculinity. The representative from Georgia got some masculinity. And that lady, representative from New York, that chick's she's got some masculinity. She got some strength going on. But there's very, very few masculine people ruling us. That's a problem, Hilly, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And you can have your opinion, and you have every right to be wrong. I reserve your right. I will defend your right to be wrong on this channel. I really will. I really will. The J didn't even exist until 600 years ago. Don't tell Mr. Nice Guy that. He will have smoke coming out of his little ears. His little hair will be on fire. Mr. Nice Guy, no, I don't celebrate Christmas, but that's okay. If you're down to Christmas, bro, you're already out of ammunition. Christian girls don't do those things, Jeffrey. Do what things? Do what things? How did I miss that? Oh, the Mexican girlfriend. Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. No, Christian girls never do those things. Never, ever. Ooh, Green Greg's asked the question that I should have asked. Mr. Nice Guy, have you been feminized? Ooh, somebody got to ask the questions. Somebody got to ask the question. Susan says, Jeffrey, you're a sexy Gemini. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see. What else we got? See how Christians are using fear? Yep, that's all they got is fear. That's all they got. My husband was a damn sexy Gemini too. Good for you. Yeshua, are you sure? Positive, 100%. And no one, the one I love, and I'll bring this up since Mr. Nice Guy did, keep Christ in Christmas. I got one problem with that. There was Christmas for about at least 5,000 years before there was Christ. So how do we keep Christ in Christmas? Yeah. Anyway, there's not enough masculine men in politics, says Tracy Dyer. There's just not enough masculine men, period. And there's not enough feminine women, period. We need women who will be women, and we need men who will be men. Anne Marie Eber, I think, is a example of a real woman. Tracy Dyer, example of a real woman. Cynthia L, example of a real woman. Street King says Maxine Waters is masculine. We're not talking about looks. We're talking about spirit, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about spirit. And Anne Marie said Gemini can be fearless. You know what? It's because Gemini probably aren't that smart, or we're really smart because we figured out, you can kill this, but this isn't me. And if you kill me, you just set the real me free. And don't forget, I still have the option to come back and haunt your ass from beyond. So keep that in mind. If you think I'm bothersome while I'm in this body, just imagine me incorporeal, omnipresent, able to go anywhere and do anything, and pissed off at you. Keep that in mind. If you ever think about popping a cap in me, not a good decision. It would only greatly multiply your problems. You'd only multiply your problems. But anyway, let's see. Somebody says at least the FLOTUS is a real woman this time. I'm really glad about that too. I gotta believe. I'm really glad about that too. Since you had to go there, Here's the hat, right? There's the tag. What's that tag say? Made in the USA. How about that? Street King got a little thing going on for Tulsi Gabbard. She's good looking. I'll give you that. She's good looking. She's good looking. I don't know how we got down to that, but that's okay. I'm not going to hate on Tulsi just because she's silly. Ted Cruz. I like Ted. I do like Ted. Ted's pretty tough. I'll go with Ted. I'll put Ted on the masculine list. Let's see. Matt Gaetz from Florida. Yeah, we'll put him on the masculine list for sure. And you know what? Governor Ron DeSantis from Florida. He makes my masculine list. And Senator Rick Scott from Florida. He makes my masculine list. One who's definitely not on my masculine list. One who is on my bitch list. One who's most likely to bend over and bite a pillow. Mitt Romney. Most likely to bend over and bite a pillow. Most likely to be in the surfboard position, biting a pillow, Mitt Romney, while the trapdoor on his sacred underwear is dropped. Did I just say that? You bet I did. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. No, Cornell Comer, it's not. It's made in America. It's a cult, no question. Hats off to Kim. Kim who? Kim who? Did I miss something good? Kim Randall, Green Greg's, thumbs up. Okay, good. We got to get Greg back on. Greg, tell me what you want to talk about, and let's come back on. Can you smell what Greg's got cooking? We want to know what it is. Mr. Nice Guy says there's no need to be funny. I can't help myself. And yeah, anyway, I don't want to say anything to you, but dude, come on. Really? Jesus, Yeshua, come on, man. Keep Christ in Christmas. He was never in it, bro. They had it for 5,000 years before there was a Jesus. Come on, man. You're smarter than that. You look smarter than that, but maybe that's just a good picture. I don't know. Let's see. Green Greg's does have turmeric, and he's going to start selling it soon. Clint Eastwood might be the last masculine man left in Hollywood. Yeah, he just made a movie about Richard Jewell, which needed to be made. But may I submit to you, Runaway Train, the name James Woods? May I submit that? May I also submit the name John Voight? May I submit that? And may I also, I think, submit the name Bruce Willis? Because I think Bruce is a thinking man as well. But anyway, and dude, I don't know, man. I still think Tom Cruise is kind of masculine. I know there's a bromance thing going on there, but I'm just saying. Let's see. He merged into Christmas. He stole his way into Christmas. Let's see. There's some great women here, Jeffrey. There really are, Green Gregs. There's some great men. There's some great women in here. I'll tell you what, I would take the 40,000 of us and go anywhere and start with nothing. And I think we'd be ruling this whole shebang before long. Cynthia with a great quote. We are pagan. Christmas is pagan. What the problem is. There you go. Flotus is a real alpha woman. She is. I'll tell you what. Melania, she's tough. Melania don't take no crap from nobody. I like Melania. And at least she's a girl. And look, I don't really care if Michelle is a boy, but why she got to lie? I don't care if Barack likes the sausage, but why's he got to lie? If you're a Muslim homosexual married to a transsexual, tell everybody the truth. Let them decide if they want to vote for you or not. I don't get it. Be who you are, bro. How long are you going to hide out in the closet? And who knows what you left in the closet at the White House? That's a scary, scary thought. Anyway, Tracy Dyer is a badass. I would agree with that. I'm a little bit afraid of Tracy Dyer still today. Don't know why. Maybe just a tiny bit. Let's see. Lindsey Graham. He would not be on the masculine list. Just saying. Just saying. He will not. Feinstein makes Ginberg look alive. Boy, there's a lot of great stuff in here, and it jumped on me again. Let's see. Here we go. If you got to go, I understand, but I just want to read all of these. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Yep, that's what I said. I meant it. Joe King, my step cousin on my sister-in-law's side, would agree. Joe would agree. Joe says Joe would agree. Let's see. Stephen, you didn't say anything to be sorry for. Anne Marie says Kaga. And, you know, we got to represent it if she says it, at least for a few seconds. I'm in love with your man brain. I don't have a brother. I don't have a brother, except brothers from another mother's. Brothers from other mothers like Greg Green's. I got that. Green Greg's, sorry. And Mittens. Oh, God. Mittens. He's on the bitch list. It needs to be a bitch book. That's true. Or at least a bitch binder, because you can keep adding names to it and taking them out. I wonder if you ever take names out of the bitch binder. I guess it's possible. Well, you know, little Marco, every now and then I feel like taking his name out of the bitch binder, but it usually ends up back in. But anyway. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Yeah, James Wood. Absolutely. Like James Woods. Clint is the man. It's hard to argue against Clint being the man. I don't know if Sam Elliott is like a real bro though, as far as, you know, knowing what's going on. I'm not sure that he is. And again, Street King hitting on Tracy Dyer hard. So let's see what else we got. Christians are hypocrites. No doubt. Obama would never have won if the truth had been told among blacks. Yeah, that's what gay Mayor Pete is having trouble with. The blacks don't want to vote for no punk. And I'm just saying it real. I'm just being real, ladies and gentlemen. Just being real, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. We do have some funny people in our chat. Let's see. Queen of the Warrior Woman. Boom. All right. Definitely Clint, James Woods, Tracy, Cynthia, Punk is right. So we've come to the end of another hour of love, peace, and harmony. Oh boy. But at least we now know that the new emperor made a new Messiah. The Trinity of the Flavians, the Alexanders, and the Herodians wrote the Gospels, created Jesus, Yeshua, Hamashiach, whatever you want to call him. He ain't real. He's fake. And I understand the people being stupid 2,000 years ago, but I got a lot harder time understanding people being stupid today. Stop being stupid. You're smarter than that. You're smarter than that. We're the last generation of real humans. It's about time for us to wake up and get doing what we're supposed to get doing. You're here to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. You're here because somewhere deep inside, even what's his name, nice guy, even he realizes he's divine, he's sovereign, and he's free. Were they really stupid 2,000 years ago? Well, they bought that shit, Tracy. At least some of them bought it. Easy for you to say, Chavanka. Only you can stop stupid. Okay, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, history is written by the winners. Now that you know the language they use, we can win today and write a better tomorrow. We're the last generation of real humans. We can win if we just get busy. And cousins, never forget, we are in the winning business. And right now, that business is a booming. You're a winner. I'm a winner. We're all winners, except for that guy. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Probably see you again today. Green Gregs, nice to see you. Shoot me an email or a message if you got something good to do a show about. Love the hell out of you guys. Really do. Appreciate you. Respect you. And Marie, you can kiss my ass right in the crack. How's that sound? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day.